It's almost Groundhog Day, a quirky and beloved tradition celebrated on February 2nd in the United States and Canada. But what exactly is the story behind this celebration? Why do so many people gather around to watch a little groundhog predict the weather? Well, let's dig into the roots of this tradition and see where it all began. Every Groundhog Day, the world watches as a groundhog emerges from its burrow. If the furry little creature sees its shadow, legend has it that we're in for 6 more weeks of winter. But if it doesn't, well, an early spring is on the way. But of course, there's much more to this tradition than meets the eye. The roots of Groundhog Day trace back to German-speaking immigrants in the United States, specifically in Pennsylvania. These settlers brought with them an ancient tradition tied to Candlemas, a Christian festival observed on February 2nd. This celebration started as the day when Christians would take their candles to the church to have them blessed. They felt that this would bring blessings to their household for the rest of the winter. As time went on, the tradition also evolved into different forms. There is an English folk song that highlights the transition to weather forecasting in this tradition. If Candlemas be fair and bright, come winter, have another flight. If Candlemas brings clouds and rain, go winter and come not again. This interpretation for Candlemas Day became the norm for most of Europe. As you can hear in that folk song, however, there's no mention of any kind of animal, let alone a groundhog. It wasn't until this traditional belief was introduced in Germany that an animal was introduced to the lore. This was just another evolution of February 2nd's traditions. If, according to German lore, a badger saw his shadow on Candlemas Day, there would be a second winter, or 6 more weeks of bad weather. As German settlers came to what is now the United States, so too came their traditions and their folklore. With the absence of badgers in the United States, a similar hibernating animal was chosen, the groundhog. This leads us to yet another change in the legend and to present-day Punxsutawney. The Pennsylvania Dutch, descendants of those German immigrants, continued to observe the superstition, but with a twist. If the groundhog saw its shadow, winter would drag on for 6 weeks instead of 4. And so, the Groundhog Day tradition was born in Pennsylvania. It wasn't until the late 1800s that the modern Groundhog Day celebration truly took shape. The small town of Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania became the epicenter of the festivities, largely in part due to the local newspaper, the Punxsutawney Spirit. In 1886, the Punxsutawney Spirit reported on the very first official Groundhog Day ceremony. By the following year, people from all around started gathering at Gobbler's Knob, a large hill just outside the town, to witness a furry meteorologist named Punxsutawney Phil make his big prediction. Today, Punxsutawney hosts the largest Groundhog Day celebration in the world, with crowds as large as 40,000 people, nearly 8 times the town's usual population. As for Punxsutawney Phil, the official groundhog, he's no ordinary animal. According to local lore, Phil is a supercentenarian, meaning that he's been alive for more than 100 years and has been making weather predictions since 1887. Though of course, this is all just a bit of fun. The actual groundhog retires and is replaced every few years, with the new one taking on the same name, Punxsutawney Phil. So what exactly happens on February 2nd of every year? Well, at precisely 7:25 a.m., Phil is coaxed out of his burrow. The crowd goes silent, waiting for his verdict. If Phil sees his shadow, he retreats into his burrow, signaling 6 more weeks of winter. But if the day is cloudy and he doesn't see his shadow, an early spring is on the horizon. Last year in 2024, Phil predicted an early spring, much to the delight of those eager for warmer weather. But as we all know, it's a tradition rooted more in fun than actual meteorology. Now, let's be real. Scientists have long debunked the accuracy of Phil's weather forecasts. Studies show that there is no consistent correlation between whether the groundhog sees its shadow and when spring-like weather actually arrives. But that doesn't stop the excitement and joy that this quirky tradition brings. While Punxsutawney is the most famous of the groundhogs, Groundhog Day has spread far beyond Pennsylvania. Other cities across the US and Canada have adopted this tradition. The Groundhog Day tradition is stronger today than ever before, with fans across the globe tuning in to watch Phil's big moment every year. From live streaming the event to celebrating in person, it's become a true part of American history. So, whether you're hoping for an early spring or excited for more winter, one thing's for sure, Groundhog Day is here to stay. Happy Groundhog Day, and we'll see you next time.